Hello, class. This is Mark Gavoor, and I have Ms. Lozama with me asking a question about problem 1 in chapter 6, where this cad, Jeremy, is trying to decide whether he should visit his girlfriend or call her up on the phone, and he only has $10 a week to spend. Each visit costs him $2 in gas, and each phone call is 20 minutes, and I forgot what it cost him on that. $2 in gasoline and 5 cents per minute, so it costs him $1 per phone call. So if we look at round trip, and I'm just entering this data 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the total utility is what? Total utility is, if he makes no visits, it's 0, obviously, and then it goes up to 80, and then it goes 150 to 10. So the utility is always going up, as you can see. 260, 300. 300, 330. And then it starts going down. What a guy. It goes up to 330. And then it starts decreasing. So the more he sees his girlfriend, the less happy he is, the less pleased he is. If he goes visits her 10 times, the total utility is only 140. Yet if he visits her 4 times, it's 260. She should break up with him. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, come on. What's wrong with this guy? He probably would have loved being this quarantined at home with this coronavirus thing. Okay, so we got 160 and we got 140. All right, so that's the total utility. What's marginal utility? MU, marginal utility. And let me make everything in this column right justified and bold. We'll worry about the bold later. So what's the marginal utility? Well, here it's nothing, so just put a couple dashes. Yeah, I know, it's not alphanumeric. Shut up, leave me alone. I got students calling me. All right, so here it is. At 1, it's 80. At 0, it's 0. So it's going to be equal to 80 minus 0, which is not real hard to do. You get 80. But then you get 150 minus 80, so it should be 70. Why? Did I add it? Oh, I did it minus 0. Silly man. Well, let's fix that. Minus, not 0, minus that one. So now when I drag it down, you'll see that my original marginal utility was 80, then it goes to 70, then it goes to 60, then it goes to 50, then it goes to 40, then it goes to 30. And does it really go from 330 down to 200? Am I reading that right?
I'm not sure.
From 6 to 7? Sure looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, after 6 times, his interest level drops completely off. Is this true of most guys? What would you say? I'm baiting you there. All right, so now we have to have marginal utility per dollar. How much does he spend for each trip? He spends $2 in gasoline to go visit her. Right?
Yeah.
So again, at 0, it's nothing. But so we take the marginal utility, so we say equal marginal utility divided by the cost of gasoline, which is 2. So it's 40 utils for the first, and then it starts decreasing. So the law of diminishing marginal returns takes place. He visits her once. He's so happy. He visits her a second time. It always happen. You know, the total utility went up, but he's actually it wasn't double the utility of visiting her one time, and visiting the third time goes down more, even though the total utility goes up. Total utility keeps going up until 6 visits, and then it drops off a cliff and starts becoming negative. You could do the same thing with phone calls. And how many phone calls does he have? He could have 0 minutes and it goes up by 20, right?
Yeah.
So we have 20. It just equals the previous plus 20. So it goes all the way down. It should be 200 when we're done. Let's see. Yay, it's 200. So now I still want marginal utility per dollar for this. So what do? We do the same thing. I could actually copy this whole column, but really, let me just copy this part. His marginal utility for one phone call is 20 utils. Going from 0 phone calls to 1 phone calls is 20. So I'm going to say that's going to be equal. The marginal utility is the 20 minus the previous total utility. So it's 20. And if I follow that all the way down, he's really constant. And oh, I didn't put the utilities in. Sorry. I jumped the gun. This video is going to look really stupid. You should laugh so people will be encouraged to laugh with you. What happened there? Undo. Undo, and I want to insert a column, not delete a column, and I want to put total utility. Okay. Total utility. Okay, so what do we have here? He gets, if he has 0 phone calls, he gets 0 utility from that, obviously. And then it's 200. You can't see it, it's so small. Is it 380, 540?
Which one? Oh, yeah. 380, 540, 680.
540, 680.
800.
800.
900.
900.
980.
980.
1040.
1040. Remember to do your income taxes like the form.
1080.
1080.
And then
11.
1100.
1100. Okay, there we go. So now we want to say the marginal utility is 200 minus 0. So it's 200. And if I copy that all the way down, we'll see that it goes down by about 10 each time, or maybe even more. Now, how much does it cost to make a 20-minute phone call? It costs $1, does it not? So I'm just going to be dividing by 1, so it's really going to be equal to that. I don't even know why I'm dividing by 1, but I did it anyway. It's going to be the same number. Now, he has a choice. We're going to look at this column. Gee, I made this so small. There we go. I want to make it yellow, and I want to make, this is the column we're going to use. This is one way of making a decision. So what does he do first? He can either make a first visit, which gives him 40 utils, or somehow calling her gives him 20 utils. So calling her on the phone obviously gives him way more pleasure than going to see her. She's got to break up with him. That's all I can say. So the first choice would be that. Correct? And that's probably too dark. Let's make it that one. Not there, though. This has been the story of my online life lately.
Technology, I swear.
No, it's me. And then I think there's some stress from all this things underlying it somehow. Okay, so that's his first choice. Now, what does he do? Does he pick the first visit, or does he make the next phone call? Well, utils per dollar is 180, and utils per dollar by visiting her is still only 40. So he's going to still keep visiting her. And then 160 versus 40. Are you kidding me? And it goes all the way down to here.
So that's phone call?
That's all phone calls. He's calling her. Then there's a tie between visiting her and making the 9th phone call. What do you think? Should she stick with this guy? No, this guy's, something's wrong with him. Then all of a sudden, this comes. Now, and I think we've used up, the magic here is that when the marginal utility per dollar is equal, that's the mix you want to have. Well, this is above his budget though, right? Because each one of these costs $1, and there's 9 of them, so that's $9. And one phone call is $2. So I would probably take one phone call away and do that. And that would give him 8 phone calls and 1 visit for his $10. Yes?
Yeah.
So that would be the answer. And I think whatever her name is, what's her name, Jasmine? Yeah, Jasmine should dump Jeremy right away. Everybody send her a note or something. Say, life's too short. I mean, he's doing the COVID thing before we even had to stay home. Okay, there's another way to do this. Did that help you, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. There's another way. We can have, what's on the budget line? We could have trips and calls, right? So he can either make, what's the opportunity cost in trips and call? Each trip costs him $2.
Mm-hmm.
So he can make up to 5 trips, right?
Right.
So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he could make how many calls in that? For each one of those, he can call 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Let's get here, and let's make this look nice here. Bold, and let's put a box around it. Remember, you should always make these so that it looks like your boss's boss would like to see it. All right, so we have trips and calls. If he makes 0 trips, how many calls could he make?
40.
He could make 200 minutes worth of calls, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that would be 200 minutes. It would be the $10 if it costs them $1 each one to. No, that would be like $20, wouldn't it?
20 minutes?
If he calls, each 20 minutes is $1. 1, 2, 3. So it can only, he can go up to there. It would go up. That would be 10 calls. He could make 200 minutes worth of calls. And then in each case, I have to drop down 400. I have to drop down 40. So the next one would be 160. So let's see, that's equal to that minus 40. And it should be 0 when I get to the bottom. Yay! I like when it comes together. I hate when I make mistakes. Okay, so now what's the total utility? 0 trips. So for this one, total utility. Zero trips is there, right? 0 utility plus 1100. 0 plus 11. So I could do it this way. I could do it equal. If I wanted to, I could go all the way here and just pluck the total utility off of each one and add them up. Or I could just do it in my head. But what's a total utility for one trip? Well, actually, there's probably an easier way of doing this. Let's delete that and put utility total utility then we have trips. This is probably the easiest way to do it. Trips, calls, and then grand total. Total utility. I'm making this way too hard, aren't I?
And you're losing me a little bit.
Okay, I haven't done anything yet. I'm just talking. Okay, so what's the utility for a trip? It's the first 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's this numbers. That's how much he gets for each trip. And each trip costs $2. Each 20 minutes of phone calls cost $1. So it's 200 minutes. That's for each 20 minutes. So that's costs $10. So that's his thing. The next one is he makes a trip for $2, and then he has 160, which is 8 phone calls basically. So $8 and $2 is $10. So I've got all these numbers on. I'm doing okay here. You see what I just did?
Yeah.
All right. In fact, let's make it that way. And let's make this grand total. Okay. Now for each call, 200 minutes of calls is 1100. And then I go to 160 and it becomes 1040. Oops, sorry. So I picked this number right here. If he made 160 minutes worth of phone calls. Then he made 120 minutes worth of phone calls, and the utility there is 900. And then he made 80, which is 680. And then he made 40 and 0. 40 phone calls was right here, and that's 380 utils. And then if he makes 0 phone calls, he gets nothing. So now I just want to add these two up. Here's the pleasure he gets from making that no trips, no pleasure at all, no satisfaction, and for making the 10 phone calls. So it's not surprisingly 1100. And if I copy this all the way down, where does it peak out? It peaks out right here at 1120, which is 1 visit, which is what we got up here, 1 visit and 8 phone calls. So this is the budget line approach. I think this is probably actually easier than going through all this nonsense. But now you have a feel for how to do the problem.
Yeah.
Now, if I post this video, everybody will be able to do it correctly. Thanks to you.
Thank you.
All right. Let me end this video.